What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
Good day, everyone.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Let's Talk Football.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Football, the show where we talk about the mental health aspect of athletes and specifically footballers. But then we don't only talk about this stuff, we also get into the general aspect of mental health. And with me today, I'll let them introduce themselves. Starting by
introduce me, man. Come
on.
on.
The person is on my right.
My, for those that don't know me, my name is Hanssen. Hanssen. That's
Alright.
And I'm Nahum, the guy with the bunk.
And the guy behind the camera most of the time. But anyway, on this show, we don't only speak about these things. So if you'd like, if these are the things that you'd like to hear about, make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and like the video so that you keep seeing more of it. But anyway, today, gentlemen, we are going to speak about pressure. We're going to talk about how we handle pressure, and what causes the pressure. Alright? Because I feel like we've all been in situations where we felt the heat.
Yeah.
We felt the pressure. He's gone through that yesterday.
Already.
Yeah, on the pitch.
On the pitch.
I was pressed.
He was there yesterday. But what do you think causes pressure? If I could start with you.
There are a lot of things that actually contribute to causing pressure, but pressure is psychological. Pressure is it's all in the mind. And if you really want to cope up with pressure effectively, you have to be in the right psychological state. So what happens when one gets under pressure is this. The moment they feel like they're under pressure, their body triggers the release of cortisol.
Okay.
Right? And this chemical causes the constrictions of the arteries around the heart, which then reduces the blood flow around the body, which then affects your performance. So if you are performing something, whether you're playing sports or whatever, your performance is then affected by that because the blood flow has been reduced, right? But what contributes to that majorly could be things like worry. We say it's the state of the mind. It's all in the mind. So how well somebody performs at any given task, right, depends on how well they're able to cope up with the pressure. So if they're able to cope up very well with the pressure, psychologically, they're able to deliver good results, right? So when one worries, for instance, right, it could be you worry about how people are going to perceive you. If, let's say, you're about to perform or about to give a speech, you worry about how people will see you. You're worrying about what people are thinking about you. You worry about the consequences that can come after, given that you don't perform to par, right, or to standard. This affects, athletes, a lot of athletes, right? That sometimes they worry about, okay, what if I do not perform as expected, right? What could happen if I do this, and how are people going to perceive me, right? Yeah. That's pressure. And the moment one worries about that, worrying by itself automatically takes a chunk of the focus on your mind. So which means the focus and the concentration that are supposed to go for you to perform the task at hand is now going towards worry. So which means your mind automatically becomes preoccupied, and that shifts your focus.
Yeah.
And that is when you see that somebody can poorly perform because their focus has literally been shifted. They are preoccupied by the worry. So worry, I think most of the times, it is the major cause of pressure. Right? You could be worrying about many things. This could be things that happen in your personal life. Maybe you're a football player. Things are not well at home. Things are not fine at home. Maybe it could be your marriage, your finances, whatever thing. But it all comes back to the issue of worry. You are worried about that. Your mind is preoccupied, and that shifts your attention and which leads to poor performance. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's in the same line of thinking because it's all in the head.
Yeah.
And what I can say is just maybe like factors, like internal factors.
Yeah.
Like especially the biggest thing that I can say is like living up to expectations. Because it's like, especially even for like us, and especially for football players, like when they go to foreign, like away from their family. Yeah. Like this is a make or break for me. I don't have to slip up. And let's say it's like fear. Also, I think fear is also a big way that puts pressure. It's like the fear to might not measure up. Yeah. And so it's like intrinsically now you're gonna think, well, I need to make the standards, and that how that affects it, like by the shifting of focus. Because like let's say you're a student or you're a football player, like what you're supposed to do is like play your own position, play. But it's like that's not the only thing that comes in your head sometimes. Making ends meet. Maybe for like semi-pros and like wanting to get signed into a contract. What if I don't do this? What if I get injured as well? What if I don't recover from injuries? Like there's so many questions. Like you flood yourself, and it's it's mainly because of like intrinsic and also like criticism is something that's from outside.
Yeah.
When you get critiqued, it's like you want to do your best, but it's like people are telling you not enough, naysayers are always there. And it's like those things, yeah, it's like...
I think even in particular to detail, let's say probably about to give a speech for instance, some people rehearse before they actually deliver a speech, right? Sometimes they put themselves under pressure, right? Because they want to focus so much on the nitty-gritties, on the detail. And what happens that there's some things that are better off left on autopilot. Right?
As it comes?
It's just a little flow, right? Now, when you try to be conscious and to control something that is rather perform better on autopilot, you lose focus. And chances are very high that you perform poorly. Because what happens is that when you've got a certain craft that I want to perform exactly like this, the moment you kind of mix it up, you're going to be confused. That is going to bring a lot of confusion. I've seen this
in front of people.
Especially when it comes to speaking in front of people. Like let's say somebody has literally crammed their speech. The moment you mix up lines, that is just going to shut your mind.
Your eyes try to find the next...
Yeah, exactly. Now
and apart from that only, there's extra pressure that is added, the fact that you're standing in front of the crowd.
Yeah.
When people are observing you. You can do it in front of the mirror, like mess up.
It's different. Yeah, of course. but it's one thing to perform for yourself, and it's another thing to. There's so many people that are very good at performing. When they are alone before they stand the crowd, they're performing very, and they feel confident. But the moment that they stand before people, they are hit by the performance anxiety. Because you're scared that am I really going to meet up the standard? Am I really going to perform so well?
I think that could be the base of pressure.
Performance anxiety. So, but what I've realized is that many people actually kind of fall victim to performance anxiety. They're usually worried about the other people. They're conscious of what other people think.
They're like, how do you say, like self-image in terms of...
Yeah, they're like literally trying to get in the minds of other people. Like, how are they seeing me? Am I dressed up? So, especially for speakers. I'm saying this because I'm easily relating it to
which is the whole point of this show.
Yeah, because I remember earlier on when I was, of course I've been very good, it's been a gift, but even as much as it's a gift, it still needs nurturing. It still needs, you need to mold it and develop it, right? But I used to have a problem with standing before people, because the moment I stand before people, I'll become self-conscious. I'll start to think of, okay, how is my dressing? How is my posture? How are my gestures? Are they? I'll start to think of those things. But at the end of the day, that shifts your attention from the main thing that you're supposed to do. What are people thinking about me? Am I pronouncing the words properly?
You missed the objective.
Exactly. So you end up, your attention is shifted. It goes where it's not supposed to be going. Yet you're supposed to be focusing completely on the task at hand. Which is another thing, if you really want to cope up with pressure, you need to be able to focus. Right? Focus on what is at hand. Do not focus on what you cannot control. There are some things that you have no power over, like what somebody else is thinking. You've got no power over how somebody is going to see you. Right? You can perform so well and two people see you differently. One can see that not today of slang, and somebody is going to say, hey bro, today you're playing so well. Yeah, so you cannot control, so don't worry about what you cannot control.
Yeah, and another thing I think I can add on to what you boys have said now is preparation.
Ooh,
because I think I've learned this especially with football.
I think you need to say preparation under pressure.
Under pressure.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because
no. But apart from just preparation under pressure, just on a general.
Okay.
Have you tried to take yourself back to memory lane? Think of a moment where you had a task in hand that you just did it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
And then the results of that task. And then think of a task that you actually took time and prepared for it.
Yeah.
And the results of that one. Make a comparison of those two.
Yeah.
Totally different.
They don't come here.
Totally different. I've observed that, especially for me with my football. So, if there's one thing I wish I would have told myself 2-3 years ago when it comes to football specific, is I should have worked more on my fitness.
Okay.
Right? So, because I knew I had the ability. Right? I knew I had the ability, I knew I had the touch, the control, the movement, the dribbling, everything. I knew I had all of that. But I did not have the fitness, and I didn't know that. So whenever I would play, I would get tired quickly. And whenever I would get tired, my mind would go away as well. And I would lose focus, I would lose concentration. And all this comes because I didn't prepare myself. Yeah. My fitness was not prepared to perform on that given level.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So,
but I think even putting yourself and practicing under pressure is very key. Especially this really majorly contributes to people that are athletes.
That's where I was heading to right now.
Right? Because you need to be able to put yourself under pressure. You can prepare in general. You can prepare so well, but still, when the game comes on, you are hit with pressure. So you have to be able to practice to cope up under pressure. Put yourself on a very tight schedule, or even just the environment. Put yourself in a very
difficult environment. Exactly.
That kind of forces pressure, and then you learn how to operate which is best within the parameters of the pressure, right?
That's how.
But of course, exactly.
Which is why most athletes are being encouraged. Don't train with people that you're comfortable with. Always step outside your comfort zone and train with people that are much better than you.
Okay.
Because as for me, I'm currently training with people that are playing in the 3rd and 2nd division. Yesterday, we trained with someone that plays in the 1st division.
Yeah.
Right? The level of football there, as in comparison to the level of football I used to play at, it's totally different. I as much as I was making fun of him for feeling the pressure and the bad passes, I was feeling the pressure as well. I was really feeling the pressure, but the thing is, I feel like I was well off prepared in terms of my fitness, my touches, my decision making, and everything. Right, so I feel like I was much better prepared.
The thing I think you also allowed yourself to be in the moment.
Yeah,
which contributes because you can practice still, but I think also allowing yourself after having practiced, be in the moment.
Yeah, prayer as a
be there, right? If you're there, I think it puts much of your focus on the game. But of course, there are a lot of things that can be out of hand, things that we can control.
You can't control.
Like for instance, I'm forgetting his name, but he was a baseball player. His name was Wilson, right? Wilson, and he was participating in the Major League Baseball games, right?
Okay.
And then this was on the 9th of June 2010, if I'm mistaken, 2009. And then on the second match during the league, his father passed away.
Oh no.
And expectations on him, because he was good and a lot of people were expecting him to perform so good.
But it's like
But his father
passed
on. This was on his second time. His father passed on, and his father was a major pillar in his life because his father was also the one who used to help him to train. Right, so it was a very blow in his stomach that he wasn't expecting. But there's one skill that is always telling people even after that. He said that allow yourself to be neutral, and he used the analogy of a car, right? That you can put your hands here, 1, 2, that. But if you allow your car or yourself to be in the neutral position, it can allow you to perform very well. Because sometimes these things cause you to be emotional. But if you're too emotional, it affects your performance.
It gets consumed.
You get performance. So you have to be willing to put yourself in the neutral position, and that you'll be able to perform so well in the neutral position. It does not mean that you don't have to be emotional. You don't have to have emotions. We are emotional creatures.
Yeah, you will.
But it's also about how well you handle the emotions. So I think that in as much as people, especially athletes, in as much as they do so much of the physical training, but I think it's also very important for them to do psychological training.
Which is why we have this show.
Which
is pretty much why we have this show. But then we've spoken pretty much about what causes the pressure. How do you gentlemen specifically handle this pressure? Let me start with you.